All right, so I worked in Tampa for a couple years. A lot of fun. Covered the Bucs. And they weren't the great Bucs then. They became great. Tony Dungy got the job after I left, and they got really good. So one of the media guys there that I always trusted and respected was Rick Stroud. He's not a clickbait guy. He's respected. He's well-researched. And so if he says something on the Bucs, he's got much better contacts, feet on the ground of that organization than I do. So Tom Brady took 11 days off in camp, and my takeaway on it was he'd retired, probably promised his family a couple-of-week vacation in Costa Rica or one of their homes or something, and he was going to make good on that. He's got a supermodel, successful wife, and he's got kids, and they have, they get an opinion too in life, and it was an 11-day vacation. It was necessary, though, to be with his family. I'm not going to even guess. There have been reports that he's been miserable at practice. Some of it could be the heat in August in Tampa. Having lived there and covered the Bucs, it can make you miserable. But listen, it ends differently for superstars. I mean, Brett Favre, Michael Jordan, mysteries and controversies and, superstars sort of get their way. And then as they age, sometimes they don't. And it can be off-putting for them. All families of superstars sacrifice a lot more than, the average family. To be a superstar, it's time. It's this relentless pursuit of excellence. And I'm sure Tom's family, although he's a great dad and husband, you make certain sacrifices. But I do think Tom's had a very choppy last few months. Tom tends to be a control guy, a prep guy, manages things well, and we've got all sorts of stories coming out there about he was looking at the Dolphins when he was in New England, and now there's the story, about the Raiders, and he's out there, kind of mocking Derek Carr. It's been choppy, and Tom's career mostly hasn't been that choppy. He's had the occasional Deflategate, Spygate stuff with Belichick, but, it's when you're a superstar and you're in the public space for 20, 25 years, you're public, and it's not smooth sailing, and it's been kind of choppy here for about 6 months. There was a report that Tom was back at practice today and apparently at his best practice as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. According to Rick Stroud, he was, quote, on fire, is how a member of the Bucs organization described it. Part of this is he did retire and then he unretired, which is, that's a big pivot. The other thing is, did he retire out of guilt for missing family time? Did he retire because he was tired of Arians in Tampa and then he comes back and they reassign him and he feels guilty? Did he retire because he wants to own a team and he's playing, but he doesn't really want to be here? It's one of these moral dilemmas a lot of Americans, men and women, get caught in all the time. What we should do and what we want to do. And there's a book to be written about Tom Brady's last 6 months. Does he really want to retire, or is it out of guilt? He's still great. He's still dominant. He could still be MVP of the league. He's won a Super Bowl in 2 years, a couple of playoff runs in 2 years. So I don't have answers for it. But when Rick Stroud comes out and says it was 11 days and not a vacation, it sounds fairly ominous. So we wish him well. He's been a great statesman for the game. And I think we'll have to be really patient because I'm not going to guess too much at this point. The number one story has been the Pittsburgh Steelers and their quarterback situation with Kenny Pickett, the rookie. So the Steelers have a history. I said this yesterday. When the Pittsburgh Steelers get the quarterback right, they win Super Bowls. When USC gets the coach right, John McKay, John Robinson, Pete Carroll, they've always won national championships. Always. Go back to the 70s. And you can make the argument for Alabama. So when Pittsburgh gets it right, this defensive-leaning franchise that drafts well, develops well, a lot of stability. I mean, they just don't go through coaches. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's it, right? That's the Steelers. So it really does matter. Did they find a gem in Kenny Pickett, who played at the University of Pittsburgh and played his home games, 4-year starter? Here's the thing. I would start Kenny Pickett, and really it comes down to this. If Kenny Pickett starts and stumbles, he's a rookie quarterback, they all do, it won't be a disaster because the organization has too many good foundational pieces. Great front office, great pass rush, excellent coach, young star running back, young star receivers, young star tight end. There's too much going for it. That's not what I worry about. Kenny's not going to be a disaster. He'll struggle. My question with Kenny Pickett is, can this defensive-leaning coach, can this defensive-leaning franchise get the most out of him? Because Mike Tomlin's running the show. How many years have they been rebuilding this offensive line? Sean McVay rebuilt his in an offseason. How many offensive coordinators can you go through? So that's my thing. I don't think Pickett would be a disaster. Maybe he's not great, but there's too many good foundational pieces here for it to be a complete mess. They have crushed it in tight end, running back, wide receiver, rush end drafting, good GMs, total stability. But if you look at the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks that got good fast, Cincinnati, offensive coach. Goff, Rams, offensive coach. Arizona, offensive coach. Kansas City, offensive coach. Baltimore and Buffalo may not have an offensive coach, but they have really strong offensive coordinators. Look at Tua. Constant disarray in Miami. Finally gets an offensive coach. Understands the sensibility of a quarterback. Tua's had his best camp. Look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones had a super strong offensive coordinator. Really good Josh McDaniels. That's why he was so good so fast. Josh McDaniels gets the Raiders job. What's happened this camp? It's a mess. He's regressed. So I don't doubt that Kenny Pickett could go in and account for himself fairly well. I don't think it would be man overboard. But this organization is not spending a lot of money right now on the offense. They're like 31st in offensive spending, and I don't think they have a feel for it. Like Kansas City, like the Rams, like the Niners, like Cincinnati. Like Arizona, I don't think they have a feel for it. I mean, how many years do you get to reboot your offensive line? They can't get it right. They've run through offensive coordinators. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.